We back at it with some exclusive content from you guys from the DCL podcast. I encourage you all to demand control of your life and take something from today. I have the Freesauce podcast as my guest today. I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves.
Well, like you all said, I'm Austin from the Freesauce podcast.
Yep, man. I'm Ricky, one half of the Freesauce podcast, man. Make sure y'all go tune in on YouTube at Freesauce Network. Catch up with some episodes. Tune in, man.
We on all platforms.
All platforms. Freesauce podcast.
All right, so we're going to go right into the topic for today, taking risks. So one thing about taking risks is a lot of times you're going to take L's. You're going to have failures. Not everything is going to go the way you want it to go. So I wanted to ask our guest here today, what specific risk have you taken recently that has helped you out, whether it was a failure or whether, you were successful?
Every day you live, you're taking a risk in some way. So pretty much like what I've come to realize, like the L's that everybody talk about taking, I've seen a lot of influence touch on every single time. They say those L's are nothing but lessons. And that's what I've come to actually realize, because you learn so much from your L's than you do from your successes. Because if you always succeed and you fail, you don't know how to react. But let's say you go through a certain situations and you don't succeed and you take a certain amount of L's. Now you know how to navigate that process. So pretty much along with that, I would say pretty much the podcast was a risk. We didn't know how big. We had an idea of how big it could get, but also in our heads we know that could be another alternative. So realizing that and still being yourself to really be like, okay, you know what, this is something I enjoy doing. I love talking to people. I love connecting with people. I'm willing to take this amount of risk to make sure, even if it don't work out, at least we tried. And so far, we've been seeing a huge success with it. Walking around campus, people telling us, hey, this is good. We are promoting positivity. And that's what I've come to realize, that risk has paid off.
Yeah, man. I kind of say the same thing. The podcast was kind of one of the biggest risks I think I probably took in my life besides going to college. That's a risk. No matter how good you was in high school, it's still a risk going to college. But, I mean, it was just something that I never fucking picture myself talking in front of a microphone and a camera. That wasn't me. If you told me that 5 years ago, I would have been like, hell no, what the fuck? No.
Right.
Never. But it's something that we took a risk on, and I think it's paying off, and it's continuing to pay off. I think the biggest thing is that we take risks damn near every week with the podcast though, because we putting out an episode every week, so we taking a risk on. Man, we might say something in this episode that people might take the wrong way, or people might not like this guest, so that might steer away, traffic and shit like that, because we are on campus. So people might not like certain people that we have on the show. So it's you taking a big risk every week that you put something out there. I think, but anybody with a business, I feel like every day you taking risks. So
right, and to also touch on that too is the fact that you don't many people don't see the behind the scenes, the financial risk.
Yeah, I forgot to say that.
That's by far pretty much one of the biggest things that me and Ricky had to endure. We college students investing thousands of our hard-earned money into a business, and people that's what people don't realize. You might see us put out the final product, but the behind the scenes work, having to buy everything with our earned money, is pretty much people don't realize. They take that for granted. We had to put a lot of financial and time into this.
Yeah, I feel like that was. I mean, they say you young, you could take the biggest risk now.
Mm-hmm.
So I appreciate taking the risk when we was
2019. Yeah.
So, about a year ago, 2 years ago, I appreciate taking the risk when we was young, but still, it was a risk. We could have, like he said, that's not hundreds, thousands that we didn't put in, and we could have put that. And we college students, we could have put that into clothes. We could have put that into a trip. We could have put that into drugs, alcohol, partying, anything like that. But nah, we chose to put in some positive that we could see. Okay, this could bring us back 100 times what we didn't put in.
And that's what it's all about, is taking those risks, taking those L's, learning from what you're doing. And by us actually, me too, it was a big financial risk. This was thousands of dollars, and
Right.
it doesn't have to pay off, but it's about taking that risk and doing it in a ways and believing in yourself and what you got going on. And that's really what has, motivated me, kept pushing me to, keep going through with this. All right. So I wanted to ask you guys, how does taking risk lead to your journey of success?
Um, I think that taking risks it is you take risks on things that you're passionate about. I think things that you like to do, and I think that, like we said, when you have a business, you continuing to take risks each and every day that you wake up and perform at your business. You taking a risk by doing those things. So I think that as long as you continually trying to move forward and progress, that's going to lead to your success. Because success is defined different ways by different people. It's different from your success is different from what my success is going to be. That's just how the world works. But I think that as long as you continuously progressing and you trying to move that bar and continually taking risk in your business, trying to do new things, I think that you're going to ultimately achieve success. It's like inevitable at that point.
Like
It's
also,
hold on before you go to, but like I like that you said that success does not have to, like, you don't have to be rewarded for taking a risk, because you don't have to be, like, you're not entitled to success just because you are taking a risk and you feel like you are taking the right steps. It might be somebody in your life you gotta let go before you could level up to the next position. So I think that you don't have to get rewarded just for taking risks. But you go ahead.
and to also go along what you said too, I feel like risk is part of an unprecedented moment in a person's like life. Like pretty much like you can't go through life, your whole life, without ever taking a risk. As in, every day you wake up to even go to work, you're taking a risk. I've seen like you're taking a risk for your job to pay you. You're taking a risk for you to rely on your job to make sure you're able to provide for your expenses and your future self. So pretty much also and the success that comes with the risk that you're taking, like he said, everybody has a different definition of it. So pretty much like what that's is this almost similar to how I define hard work. Just like I tell like myself sometimes, like sometimes people might not be like, oh, you're not working hard, but to me, I'm working to the best ability that I can. So I feel like everybody has their own ways of defining those like words, because like you said, your version of success can't be the same as mine, because we might have different experiences in our life that has led us to different conclusions.
Yeah, and I agree with that too. That's one thing that's very important for people to know, is someone else's definition of success is not yours. You have to go internally and figure out, what do you want in life? What do you love to do? And then figure out what success means to you from there. Success doesn't have to be financial. Success can be rich in soul. Success can be, that you're a good person and you continue to be a good person and help others day by day, and you're successful through doing that. So I wanted to ask you guys, what specifically is success to you?
Is the ability to wake up every single day and look at myself in the mirror. Like I'm saying that as in, yeah, like we all have a dream or a goal that we have for our future selves. As in, like, we all have somewhere we want to be in the long run. But at the same time, how are you okay with who you are in the present moment? And that's what I've come to realize. Like, at the end of the day, you came into this world alone, you're going to leave alone. So pretty much, like, I try to, even though, like, I'm just heavily achievement driven, I try to bring myself down to realize, like, what you're doing is far enough. And yeah, I respect that you want to do more, but at the same time, though, be somewhat acceptable of what you're doing right now. So that's why I feel like success, I have come to realize, like, because if all you want to do in your whole life is achieve. Someday you're not gonna be happy with what you're doing.
I think that my answer kind of similar to his, but I think we gotta define like different levels of success. It's big. You got big wins, like man, it's the biggest W that I could have took this year. Then you got the small wins, and then you got the wins in between. It's like, okay, man, I worked for this for 2 weeks, and those type of wins. I think that we gotta like you said, we gotta like take everything for what it is. Like those small wins, we gotta really congratulate ourselves for those. So small wins could be like, you got a meal plan for this week. You finish all your meals. You had no cheat days. You in the gym all 5 days that week. That's a small win. You gotta take that W. Whereas a big win could be, I'm trying to earn $100,000 this year. You don't earn 100,000. Say you earn 77, right? You didn't achieve that goal, but all those small wins of going to the gym, getting your body right, getting your health right, and shit like that. That's all contributing to that. So now next year you still set that same goal, 6 figures, but you finna smash that by making 150 this year because you didn't had all those small wins stacking up and shit like that. So I just like to you gotta take all wins. Every level has a win. Like getting a car, that could be a mid-level win. You worked on that for maybe 6 months, shit like that. I think it's different levels of success. So we gotta learn how to define that and also be grateful for everything that we do complete. Like completing an assignment could be a success for somebody.
Yeah.
Let's say you got 3 assignments in a paper due by Friday 11:59, and it's Thursday 3 p.m. By 11:59 Friday, you get all that done. That's a success for you. You go out, you have your good night.
One thing that reminds me of is just having a successful mindset, being goal orientated, driven towards your purpose, and having a successful mindset in my mind is different than just chasing success, because some people would see success as like one goal or one thing, but once you reach that goal or that one thing, then where do you go from there? Right. So to continue, I believe it helps a lot to have a successful mindset to keep pushing forward. You know what I mean? After you already done met some version of success for you.
And to also go along with that too, look at the people you hanging around with. That like out of the 5 people you hang out with, you are always going to be the middle. So look at those people that you're hanging around with to make sure their value contributes to your value. As in, we are not just friends just because we want to go out. We are not just friends just because we want to work on business. Like you gotta know like where to draw the lines between certain friends, and you gotta know where to draw the lines when it comes to some certain relationships. Because I feel like sometimes, like being in college, everybody has a different way of seeing themselves, so you try to like align with everybody else's like ideas. But I feel like sometimes you lose yourself doing that. So pretty much like I said, being able to sit in the front of the mirror and look at yourself and be like, this is what I want to do, and I'm doing this because I want to do it, not because so and so is doing it. I feel like sometimes people get lost in that.
Mm-hmm. It definitely, you are a sum of the 5 people you hang around. So if you're hanging around people whose goals don't align with yours, then it's going to be harder for you to achieve your goals. You need to surround yourself around people who are on the same wavelength, on the same goals, have the same similar ambitions as you, because if you're around people who want to party all the time and you want to run a business, you know what I mean? It's not really going to work out, because every time you're around them, they're talking about parties, or they're going to parties, or that's the only thing you do with them. And then your mind, when you're with them, is only focused on parties. You can't focus on your business because they're not talking about business. So I really like that you brung that up.
Yeah, and to touch on that too, I think that we talk about, you got to surround yourself with these people, surround yourself with good people, not the bad people. People kind of try to rush and be like, man, I don't got 5 people around me. Let me go try to find a group to fit into. And that's the worst mistake you can make, is like trying to rush or trying to fit into somebody's group, trying to rush for the process, trying to rush a friendship or something like that. Like that's all gonna come to you when it's time, if you ain't got 5 people around you, that mean right now it's time for you to just work on yourself. You got to put all your energy into you, because
Correct.
you don't have the available resources to put it into nobody else. It would be serving you no purpose to be around this person, because it'll lead to just partying. We having the same conversations. We not progressing. We not talking about making no money. We not having no fun, no real fun. We not living, and shit like that. So I think you gotta, if you ain't, for the people that don't got 5 people around them right now, it's just your time to focus on you, find a craft, go hard on something, and the right people will attract to you. They'll come to you.
And also going along with that too, people don't realize but once you start finding hobbies, you start to find friends that enjoy doing those
Yeah, you
hobbies.
gotta find friends where like you doing shit where like y'all got shit in common, basically.
Right.
Y'all could talk about things other than
Surface
just-
level conversations.
Right.
Yeah.
Y'all could talk about things that you're actually interested in, things y'all actually want to progress in.
Yeah, and another thing on that is you may have those day one friends that you have fun with, or you know what I mean? Like they're the people that really know you, but at the end of the day, you're going to have to breach out and start networking and finding a community of people who, have a like-minded goals as yourself, because if the people you grew up with, they're not focused on what you're focused on, then it's time for you to elevate. You got to find a new environment, put yourself around new people, start doing different things, get different habits, change your habits. But I like that a lot. So I wanted to ask you guys, so reaching success is definitely a journey. I want to ask you a question because a lot of people do not know the difference between these two, and it's motivation and discipline. So from you guys' understandings, where do you see the correlation between motivation and discipline, and which one do you believe that you incorporate in your life the most?
Okay, so I'll take it just as it real quick. Motivation to me is the drive, right? Discipline is the obedience factor to that drive. Okay, as in, if you're motivated alone isn't gonna cut it. Motivation alone is never gonna cut it. Like, cause you can be motivated, but you don't want to do it. But if you have the discipline to, it's like motivation is the desire. Is the desire factor of wanting something, but then the discipline is how bad do you really want to go get it, right? So pretty much like, it's being able to sit down like, I'm really motivated by wanting a big house, but I'm really disciplined to go work for that big house. You see that? So I feel like me personally, my factor comes in with the discipline aspect, because growing up, I used to be a really stubborn child. Like, you're not getting shit through my head. But as I've, grown and matured, I've come to realize, like, some of the things that they were telling me at such a young age has played a really big factor into my life right now. Like, when I start to realize my life, I seem like if I actually took all the advice that they gave me as a kid, that's literally those advice that I'm implementing in my life right now. But when I was young, I didn't see no value in those advice, because I'm like, bro, I'm going to just do whatever the fuck I want to do, So it's just being able to come to the realization of like, okay, you want to go in the gym. It's like going to the gym. Going to the gym it's not motivation for you. Like, getting your ass into the gym 24/7 or every single day is discipline. Because, bro, I'm going to tell you, everybody that goes to the gym some days don't even want to be in there. They don't even want to be around the weights, but they go to the goal because it's the discipline factor of, if I don't get this done, then the rest of my day I'm not gonna get anything else done. It's like Ricky was saying, like, it's the small little steps that you take that people should actually be granted and reward themselves for those small little steps. Because yeah, we all want big successes, but at the same time though, you gotta embrace the journey that you're going on.
Yeah. You said, which one do we incorporate into our lives? More discipline or
Motivation. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I think they kind of go hand in hand, but I think we got motivation for some things, and I think we got discipline for some things. Like, I don't think that anybody in the world is undisciplined.
Yeah.
We choose to be disciplined at certain
In areas.
things.
Yeah.
Like, you could be disciplined, like your job. For instance, you're very disciplined to your job because you know that if you don't, you not gonna have it. If you don't go to work, you know you're not gonna have it. So you're very disciplined to your job. You know you got to work Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. You're there Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. If you're not gonna be there, you know what? You're gonna have to put in your 2 weeks request or something like that. You're very disciplined to that job. But let's say that same person they're trying to lose. Let's say they're trying to gain weight or trying to gain muscle, right? They're trying to get in the gym. So say they got to stick. They know this meal plan they got to stick to. They know they got to be in the gym 4 days a week, and they know they schedule. They know they splits with everything they got to do. But they only in the gym 2 days a week, and they only eating a meal plan 3 out of the 5 days, right? He's not undisciplined. He's just being disciplined to what he wants to be disciplined to,
Right.
what he knows he has to be disciplined to. Whereas if he was disciplined in something that he really wants to achieve, he would do it. And I think that if you have the motivation to do that, then that's where the discipline comes in. Because motivation comes and goes, you know.
Yeah.
Motivation to me is like, okay, I see somebody with the car I want. That's motivation because I just saw it. But if the discipline comes in where you're thinking about that car 24/7, like this is my motivation, but you're being disciplined to that motivation, right? That's what the discipline is. It's just being disciplined to your motivation.
Yeah, and I like that you said that because a lot of times you may look at someone like they're not disciplined because they're not going to the gym consistently when they're actually probably disciplined in other parts of life.
Very disciplined to something else.
Yeah.
Like very.
Yeah, it might even be video games. They might be very disciplined to the video games, but I really like that perspective because it's all about what you're disciplined in. Are you disciplined in something positive or are you disciplined in something negative? And tying in motivation to that, motivation in my own definition is it's like that temporary driving factor to do something. Like, for example, you might look in the mirror, see some veins, see your arms are getting bigger, and that might be motivation to go to the gym, you know what I mean? But discipline is saying, I got to go to the gym 7 days a week for an hour a day, no matter what happens, no matter how I feel. And that is pure discipline to me, getting your shit done that you need done. You know what I mean? Handling your priorities, no matter how you're feeling or whatever, just knowing that it got to get done. So that, you know, that's what I'm going to do.
And Ricky touched on a really important thing. Like we said, like pretty much like discipline is the action driven to the motivation. Like it's like he said, you see somebody with the favorite car that you want, you know, you like now if you want to go get that car, the discipline now is gonna come with it. You're going to have to perform some actions to go get that car. Because you're not just going to dream of it out car and it's going to pop up in your front door.
No.
So you're just going to have to put that action towards it. And I feel like that was a really like good insight on that.
Yeah, I think people, they don't really understand what motivation is. They think motivation is something that's like going to stay there forever. Because we all know we had days where we get up and we don't feel like doing the goddamn thing. But when you do those things that you don't feel like doing, that's the discipline part. Yep. But the days when you get up and it's like, man, I'm ready to go, that's when you motivated, right?
Yep.
That's usually the days that people get up and they go to the gym, they drinking they coffee, they did their skincare, they did all the homework, and they usually only come around 1-2 times a week.
Yep.
You know,
out of the 7.
You get what I'm saying? You only feel real good and pumped maybe 1-2 days, 3 days if it's a good week, you know? Yep. So you have to be disciplined if you want to win in life, or else you just gonna be riding a constant wave of up and down, up and down, up and down. And you just, when you go up and down, you just stay in the middle, not making no progress.
All right, so I want to ask you guys, what specifically keeps you motivated or disciplined to chase your dreams? What keeps you? What pushes you?
What keeps me motivated is the hope of a better tomorrow. I tell this to myself all the time. If I have no reason to be alive, I wouldn't be alive. Like, if I had no hope to be alive, I wouldn't be alive. So pretty much that is what keeps me motivated, and also the people around me. Like, going into business with Ricky, you know, he's specified in areas that I am not. So when he's putting his 100% into the business, I gotta make sure I match that. As in, Ricky is doing the behind the scenes, that's editing the videos, making edits, clipping, all that. I gotta make sure I'm putting 100% effort into reaching out to people to get them on the podcast. Like we have two different specialities into the business. So if he's putting most of his effort into the business, why can't I? That's motivation, right? Because I'm seeing somebody else do what that was needed to be done for the job, right? And then the discipline aspect comes in as in like, how consistent can we post a week? How many people can we get on here to be able to get a podcast out every single week? And what conversations can we have with people to make sure people actually tune in and getting something out of it? So I guess, like you said, they go hand in hand because some days we are motivated to pump out episodes. Some days we don't even want to get out of bed. But it's the discipline aspect of, okay, we know we have a podcast at 5 p.m. So what are we going to do? We're going to make sure we are ready for 5 p.m. to get the episode out because we don't want to waste somebody else's time. Especially when you're the one reaching out to the person to try to get them on there. Right. Why waste their time?
Yeah. What was the question you said? What about motivation, this one?
Oh, okay. What specifically motivates you, or what keeps you disciplined?
I think I got different motivations for different things. But I think what keeps me like motivated and disciplined when it comes to our business, what we got going on right now, like he said, you know, is the days where we get all that feedback, man. Hey, I fuck with what y'all doing, man. Keep going. I just watched the episode, good episode. You know, hey, I like that, man. Hey, let me get a shirt, this and that. That's the days where, you know, you like real motivated, like, man, let's get it. I'm pumped. And then, you know, the discipline comes in the days where, like he said, you don't want to talk a lick. You don't want to get in front of the camera. You don't want to see nobody's face. Like, I don't want to meet you. No, I don't want to say hi. No, right? That's the discipline days, right? And we do have those days because we've been in it for a year and a half. So it's inevitable to not have those days. But it's like you say, we might agree to some a week or 2 weeks in advance and be like, yeah, we're going to have a podcast on the, what's today, the 8th? We're going to have a podcast on the 20th at 7 p.m. We have no idea how we're going to be feeling on the 20th, what's going to be going on with grades, what's going to be going on with rent, life, health. We have no idea, but we just know that this is something that we have to do. So we're going to get that, we're going to schedule that. And when that day come around, whether it's a motivation day or a discipline day, we're going to make it happen. Right? That's I think that's the fine line between the two. But what keeps me motivated is just, you know, seeing that I think we could do something real big with it. That's the motivation. You know, I see that we could do something real big. I don't think, you know, I don't think that every podcast has that ability, you know, and I think that we could do something real big because we push our positivity and we teach, you know, that's our biggest goal, to teach and progress.
Bro.
You know, and I think that if you get people to progress and you get people to learn and shit like that, I think why would people not love you? You know, why would people not tune in if they getting value? You know, we was big on that, like coming in, like creating the shit. We was like, we have to give value. That's our number one goal, is to give value every episode, for you to walk away with something that you didn't have before.
Yes.